Hey everyone, my name is Travis Vaughan, and today I'm going to be leading you in a PD on research-based effective teaching strategies. The strategy that I was assigned is generating and testing hypotheses. This is for EDU 520. So what is a good definition for generating and testing hypotheses? Well, generating and testing hypotheses is a core function of structured analysis. That seems like a really complicated way of saying something like this: a possible explanation of the past or a judgment about the future is a hypothesis, and that hypothesis needs to be tested through the collection and presentation of evidence. Ultimately, the evidence is what we're looking for to prove whether or not a hypothesis holds water or leaks like a colander. The big question for all strategies is whether or not they're effective, and why are they not effective? Well, this strategy is exceptionally effective in removing bias. Anchoring effects and confirmation bias, which can both lead to premature closure, are specifically targeted by this strategy. An anchoring effect occurs when the first information presented is relied upon too heavily, regardless of whether it's relevant or not. Take, for example, our stick man. As you can see in the image, the mugs are 100% identical in every way except for one: the information contained on the price tag. Our poor stick man has become anchored on the idea that he is getting a deal rather than realizing the mug was just marked up so that it would look appealing when it was marked down. Confirmation bias is when the data somehow confirms or supports prior beliefs or values. It can be tempting to stop testing when we get the results that we're hoping for. So I told you in the last slide that one of the things we want to do is we want to use strategies that are effective. And it turns out that this strategy is very effective in removing bias. And here's how it does that. What it does is it reduces anchoring effects by pushing students to generate alternative explanations and solutions. Not only that, it reduces the influence of confirmation bias by exposing students to multiple ideas and viewpoints. Sometimes we can decide that our ideas and our viewpoints are the most important and the best, and we can sometimes discount others, whether we mean to or not. It also helps students to avoid what is called premature closure, or finishing the data analysis too early, which can result in underdeveloped or, in some cases, absolutely wrong conclusions. So it turns out that thinking is kind of an individualized sport, meaning that everyone does it their own way. The two most well-known types of reasoning or thinking are inductive and deductive. Inductive thinking moves from specific observations and data to general conclusions or principles. Deductive thinking starts with general statements or ideas and works its way down to specific conclusions. Neither method is necessarily better than the other, and in reality, reasoning is more of a meandering path than it is a straight line. So hopefully before you started my presentation, you downloaded and looked at this template to build a paper airplane. It's not a fancy paper airplane, but this model is a classic, and it works as a great starting point for the classroom exercise that we're about to focus on. Okay, so the first step in making our strategy work for us is to choose a problem that our students are going to comprehend quickly. It doesn't need to be a complicated problem right off the bat. It can be a simple one. We can build up to the complicated problems over time. So today what we're going to do is we are going to design, build, and test a prototype of a paper airplane glider that will consistently and accurately land on a target of our choosing. All right? So we would tell our students to mark out a target and then come up with this design. So we would start with the template that we gave them and see how many times they could throw it, how close they could get to the target, and they would record their data. All right. So after your students understand the problem, that is when the fun begins. Brainstorming is probably my favorite part of the entire process. Are there bad ideas? Not in a brainstorming session. Well, brainstorming is every idea is valid and has value. So after brainstorming, though, students then will begin to hypothesize whether or not the ideas they came up with are going to work. Some of the conclusions that they'll come up with are going to be, hey, these are going to work great. Or maybe this design is not going to fly very well. All right. So we're going to figure out which one of our solutions is viable. This is when the design process really kicks in. So when they are brainstorming, they're going to come up with ideas like, what shape of a paper airplane are they going to build? Here are some examples of just some that I found on the internet. A basic paper airplane, the basic dart, the stable airplane, the sea glider, which is supposed to glide really, really far and fly for a long time. Each one of these is different. Your students can find one that they think is going to work, and they can build it, and then they can test it. After choosing a solution to chase, it's time for them to start designing. All right, so they want to start with a sketch and then develop the idea into a workable prototype and test to see how well it works. Sketches do not have to be perfect. They're rough outlines of what the final solution might end up looking like. During this stage, it's important for the teacher, you and I, to offer encouragement and affirmation to keep the process moving. Some students might get just a little bit self-conscious about the fact that, oh, I can't draw. Well, guess what? Mr. Vaughan, he can't draw either, but we do our best. We come up with an idea. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be workable. All right, so students are then going to put their ideas into development. In our case, we get to throw our paper airplanes and see if we can actually get them to land consistently and accurately where we want them to. Something that we as the teachers need to be prepared for is failure, because our students are not all going to succeed on their first attempt. And here's the thing, not everyone handles failure well. When testing their hypothesis and solutions, not every idea is going to pan out. Remember, back in brainstorming, we said there are no bad ideas. But here's the thing, once we get to practical application, it turns out that there really are some bad ideas, and those have to be thrown out for better ideas. All right? When this happens, we need to look for and point out the positives that we observe. All right? So, your kids are having trouble getting their paper airplanes to do what they want them to. They're not getting the results that they want. Well, here's some questions for them. Did the plane fly? If it did, that's a win. Okay? Just because it didn't land where you wanted it to go doesn't mean it was a complete failure. It did fly? Okay. Was the design aesthetically pleasing? Did it look good? All right, maybe it didn't fly so good, but man, it looked really cool. Okay, that's good. Ask some questions and help guide them to the answers that they're looking for rather than just answering their questions for them. For some of us, we're going to be able to look at that paper airplane and realize very quickly why that thing is not flying and why it's not landing where we want it to. What we need to help our students understand is that failure is a step towards success, right? So right now, some of you might be thinking, hey, this would be awesome to use this in a project-based learning type environment, like a science or math class. But what about a class like English or reading or literature? Well, there's ways that you can implement this same strategy in there as well. For instance, Sword of Shannara, one of my favorite books that I read in high school, and then Harry Potter that I read later on in life. Show your students the cover of a book. Let them look at the artwork. Let them study it without reading any kind of description whatsoever about the book. Don't let them read the inside cover. Don't let them read the back cover. Just let them look at the cover art. And then ask them to hypothesize, what is this story about? What do you think is going to happen in this book based solely upon the cover? I know, we've been told never judge a book by its cover, but this would be a fun way to allow your students to use their imaginations, come up with a story based on what they see and what they observe. And then you can read the story and find out just how close they got with their hypotheses. Another fun thing you could do is you could show them a picture like this video screenshot and ask them, okay, what's going to happen next? When he steps on the ice, what are the different possibilities? Is he going to be able to stand on the ice? Is it going to support his weight? Is he going to end up ice skating on the pool? Or is he going to step on the ice and it's immediately going to break and he's going to fall into the pool? Or maybe he goes to step on the ice, the ladder shoots out from under him, and then he falls to the ground. Or maybe he tries to step on the ice, he slips, he falls, he hits the edge of the pool, and the entire pool collapses under his weight. What happens next? Well, have them hypothesize. Have them write the end of the story and see what they can come up with. Then when you're done, you can show them what actually happens. Spoiler alert, he just breaks through the ice and falls in, and then his wife yells at him, "Hey, Walter, get out of the pool." Both Marzano and Hattie agree that generating and testing hypotheses is a high-yield instructional strategy. So now all we have to do is choose how we're going to use this strategy to benefit our students in the classroom. Thanks for watching my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.